Hello, and welcome to our technical deep dive of Qualcomm Snapdragon 888. We're so glad you could join us today, and we have a lot of exciting details to share. The 888 is a major upgrade in every respect. Now, let's jump into the heart of our new Dragon. It's truly our most advanced product yet. Manufactured in the latest 5 nanometer process technology, it is the most cutting edge process technology right now that allows us to squeeze in the maximum number of transistors. Now, as we go through this deep dive, you will see a large number of firsts that we have packed into this product. So let's start with connectivity. This is the most advanced integrated 5G modem RF system in the world. It is equipped with our third generation sub-6 and millimeter wave technologies, which allows global launches with a single design. It is designed to bring ultimate flexibility to operators so that more networks around the world can deliver the best 5G experience. Snapdragon 888 can achieve peak 5G speeds of up to 7.5 gigabits per second, utilizing our third generation millimeter wave technology, whereas others are still on their first generation 5G solutions. Snapdragon 888 is the first to add key features such as 5G carrier aggregation across FDD and TDD, all in a very compact, integrated solution. This is the first Snapdragon product to use our Qualcomm Fast Connect 6900 subsystem. This amazing system utilizes the latest Wi-Fi 6 and 6E capabilities, utilizing the 6 GHz spectrum. Like 5G, you can achieve multi-gigabit speeds at nearly 3.6 gigabits per second. Snapdragon 888 is the first in the industry to use advanced modulation techniques like 4K QAM and 4-stream DBS by using the 6 GHz channel. Now, by increasing the number of channels from 2 to 3, this relieves Wi-Fi network congestion even further to generate the fastest and most consistent connections in your home. 6900 also brings in Bluetooth 5.2 with dual antenna support for much better Bluetooth connectivity experience. Really a great story on the connectivity side. Let's move on to camera. Qualcomm technologies today power the most cameras in the world due to the sheer number of photos taken each day by smartphones powered by Snapdragon. This year with Snapdragon 888, we're tripling down on the future of photography, and we are very excited. This is the first triple ISP from Snapdragon. This means that the smartphone can capture 3 different camera streams from 3 different vantage points and then decide which picture or video is right for you, and stitch them together to create the best experience possible. Spectra 580 will also support the newest sensor technology called staggered HDR sensors, which will introduce the concept of computational HDR for the first time. Last year, our Qualcomm Spectra ISP broke the gigapixel per second barrier for the first time. We have pushed the envelope even further with Qualcomm Spectra 580. We have cranked those speeds up to 2.7 gigapixels per second. That's a whopping 35% increase in pixel throughput. So we think the Snapdragon 888 will take the imaging experience to a whole new level. You will hear more about these new and exciting camera experiences later on. On to GPU. Our Qualcomm Adreno GPU is at the heart of mobile gaming. To date, we have shipped over 2.5 billion Adreno GPUs and have powered a new breed of gaming smartphones. Adreno is the most power-efficient graphics IP in mobile industry, which means it is the most power-efficient graphics IP, period. This year, our Adreno 660 GPU achieves the biggest year-on-year leap in graphics rendering performance with a whopping 35% improvement in performance while focusing on sustainable and usable performance and adding new cutting-edge features. This means that more games can push the frame rate limit while allowing you to play on your smartphone for as long as you wish. Adreno is more than just graphics engine. It is also made up of the world-class display engine that enables best picture quality. With Snapdragon 888, we are adding new hardware inside the display pipeline with technologies like Demura and subpixel rendering to improve the picture quality of the smartphone display even further. The Snapdragon DNA is really built on sustained performance. It is not about the type of graphics performance that can win synthetic benchmarks. It is about the ability to render games at the highest performance level and holding those levels over a sustained period of time. Our competitors across different OSs sometimes claim the highest marks during the very first few minutes, but drop off very quickly, which means they cannot sustain the performance. In other words, that performance is not usable. With Snapdragon, we work with the mobile gaming industry to deliver the best gaming experience on the device. AI has become very critical over the years. Due to our early investments in AI R&D, Qualcomm AI technology enables more than 1.5 billion devices today. AI is one technology that has outpaced all others in terms of processing demands. Because of this, we have completely redefined our Qualcomm Hexagon 780 processor. We had to rethink the way AI workloads can achieve higher performance without sacrificing power. The different AI accelerators that are built into Hexagon, the scalar, the vector, and tensor accelerators, they are all now fused together such that they work together as one unit. On top of that, we added a layer of shared memory around these accelerators that is 16 times the size in previous products. The added memory also allows many neural networks to run inside Hexagon without tapping into external memory. This reduces the response times to nanoseconds and increases performance per watt by more than 3 times compared to the previous year. This is what allows new AI use cases to run on device, which were not possible in the past. Last year we also introduced the Qualcomm Sensing Hub, which enabled always-on, contextually aware use cases when your smartphone is sitting idle. With the 888, we are introducing the second generation Qualcomm Sensing Hub, where we added a dedicated AI processor. It can collect and decipher different types of data streams, including, for the first time, 5G, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and location streams. The inclusion of these data streams creates new opportunities for your smartphone to understand the environment around it, like a baby crying, the weather around you, the time of the day, and work with an AI assistant to seamlessly provide recommendations. And finally, our Qualcomm Cryo 680 CPU. We went all out with our new CPU architecture also this year. Snapdragon 888 is the first to use the ARM Cortex-X1, which is a completely redone architecture that increases CPU performance by up to 25%. And we have improved the overall CPU cluster power efficiency by 25% as well. Just like we were able to sustain graphics performance, it's a very similar story here with overall CPU performance. Snapdragon is designed to better maintain its performance compared to all of our competitors across OSs. We designed the various engines to ensure we can sustain performance for long periods while our competitors are tapering off because of throttling issues. They constructed their IP for 1 or 2 good runs, which is ideal for benchmarks, but Snapdragon, again, is constructed for sustained, usable performance. And when you bring all of these pieces in our Snapdragon 888 together, the Adreno 660, the newly built Hexagon 780, the Cryo 680, and the second generation Qualcomm Sensing Hub, this forms our very powerful 6th generation Qualcomm AI engine. And the combined processing power of this new engine exceeds 26 trillion operations per second. This is the first for any mobile platform and represents the biggest leap in performance ever on Snapdragon. Along with that, we have completely redesigned the software tools to enable access to our new 6th generation Qualcomm AI engine, appropriately named Qualcomm AI Engine Direct. Later on, we'll show you some of the new experiences this new AI engine will deliver. As you can see, we did not skimp on any technology. We've really gone all out, but we've just begun to scratch the surface of the Snapdragon 888. With all this amazing technology, the 888 is the benchmark in driving premium experiences on the handset. Another area that is top of mind for consumers and us is security. We've done a lot in this area too, and here to tell you more is Sarita.
Thank you, Ziad. Qualcomm Technologies invests heavily in hardware, software, and cloud security technologies, as we believe new experiences are built on secure foundations. Qualcomm Snapdragon 888 will add new security technologies that will power completely new user experiences on smartphones. Snapdragon 888 will be the first Snapdragon with a Type 1 hypervisor, a feature previously only popular on desktops, mostly used for running multiple operating systems in their own isolated secure spaces. Snapdragon 888 brings this technology to smartphones to enable new user experiences. Like desktop computing, Qualcomm's hypervisor can enable many instances of the same operating system on the smartphones and switch between them instantly. You can have one instance of the operating system dedicated to your work apps and a separate isolated operating system for your personal apps. Or you can even run a completely different operating system. Qualcomm's hypervisor provides isolation within the hardware, preserving the security and privacy of each environment. We also believe hypervisor can be used a different way. The future of apps can be apps with their own operating system. Hypervisor can isolate the application, and it can keep the application data completely private from apps within the primary operating system. Qualcomm Hypervisor can open a new trusted world for application developers. They can create entirely new and private experiences within each application. Hypervisor is just one of many technologies enabled inside of the Snapdragon chipset. Our security technologies extend beyond the Snapdragon chip into the cloud. In 2018, we created Qualcomm Wireless Edge Service. It's a set of cloud services that Snapdragon can interact with, allowing apps and services to remotely verify the device identity, measure the security of the devices, and its wireless connections in real time. The Qualcomm service enables apps and services to make risk-based assessments by securely gathering information from the device and deliver sensitive information to that target device. Apps and services can also leverage Qualcomm Wireless Edge Service to remotely activate chipset hardware and software features. Today, Qualcomm Wireless Edge Services are fully commercial for developers to integrate into their apps and services, enabling secure remote management of devices. We want to use the opportunity to highlight a new security-related use case. It's a use case that takes advantage of our on-device security technologies and Qualcomm Wireless Edge cloud services to preserve the future of photography. We're entering a new world with AI-powered tools where it's easy to create deepfakes. How do you know if a photo on a website is authentic? Pixels and EXIF data, the format information for images and sound files, can be edited, can be modified. Soon, anyone will be able to easily create a convincing forgery. We at Qualcomm want to provide a way to capture a photo that lets others know that what they're looking at is truly a photo captured by a camera. This is why we are collaborating with TruePic. TruePic harnesses our security technologies, our Spectra ISP, and Qualcomm Wireless Edge cloud services to create a cryptographic seal around photos captured by the camera. The cryptographic seal protects pixels, date, time, location, and the depth map. TruePic's cryptographically sealed photos are compliant with the emerging open standard from the Content Authenticity Initiative, also known as CAI, led by Adobe. By being CAI compliant, TruePic photos can be viewed and verified by other CAI-compliant services. Thanks to our work with TruePic, Snapdragon is the world's first CAI-compliant camera. We are looking forward to securing the future of photography.
Qualcomm Technologies built Qualcomm Spectra to double down on the future of computational camera. Unlike most ISPs, when Qualcomm Spectra debuted 5 years ago, it wasn't a single ISP. It was born a dual ISP. Today, it's getting a big upgrade. Today, Snapdragon will triple down on the future of computational photography. Qualcomm Spectra 580 is the first Qualcomm Spectra with a triple ISP. This is huge. The triple ISP will take professional image quality to the next level because it gives the camera triple concurrency and triple parallel processing. Let me show you how we can use these features to take professional image quality to the next level and offer breakthrough camera experiences. Most flagship smartphones come with at least 3 rear cameras, each with different lenses: ultra-wide, wide, and telephoto. Triple concurrency will enable users to capture video from 3 different cameras at the exact same time, all in 4K HDR quality. Or you can capture 3 photos at the exact same time, all at 28 megapixels at 30 frames per second with no lag. Triple concurrency will also provide even smoother transitioning when zooming between cameras. For example, on the dual ISP, if you started shooting with your wide-angle camera, we had to guess if you were going to zoom in with your telephoto or zoom out with your ultra-wide. With triple concurrency, we don't have to guess. We can run all 3 cameras in the background and then instantly switch to the camera that you want to use. But Qualcomm Spectra 580 is more than just triple ISPs. It features architecture improvements for speed, image quality, and computer vision. It's 35% faster than our previous generation. We can now capture 2.7 gigapixels per second. For example, that's 2 sensors, a 64 megapixel and a 25 megapixel sensor, running concurrently at 30 frames per second. We can also use that speed to achieve astounding burst photography. In just 1 second, we can capture 120 photos, all at 12 megapixels. No mobile device has ever done that, until now. To quote PJ from last year, who does that? We do that. Qualcomm Spectra 580's speed, along with the latest AI engine, also gives us the ability to dramatically enhance photo capture in low light. We can capture photos with incredible detail in near darkness, as little as just 0.1 lux of light. Qualcomm Technologies is at the center of the camera ecosystem. We know what image sensors are coming to consumers, so we designed the Qualcomm Spectra ISP for the image sensors of tomorrow. Qualcomm Spectra 580's architecture is designed for image sensors called staggered HDR that will come to market this year. They have the potential to dramatically enhance HDR video quality. Staggered HDR image sensors output separate long, medium, and short exposures. In the same time that today's image sensors capture 1 image, staggered HDR can capture 3 images, all with detail in different parts, bright or dark, of the scene. The term HDR can be confusing. We commonly refer to HDR as 10-bit HDR or HDR10 for video, which we've supported since Snapdragon 845. Other formats like hybrid log gamma and Dolby Vision are also 10-bit formats. But this really refers to how HDR videos are encoded and saved. In reality, the ISP operates on a much higher bit depth, which is enabled by computational HDR. Computational HDR is what the ISP is doing when it combines multiple exposures together from the image sensor to get a final output image with huge dynamic range. Up until now, video could be saved in 10-bit format, but this was typically generated by a single exposure per frame, or by an image sensor that had to trade an HDR output for a reduction in resolution. For photo capture, special applications could produce an HDR output based upon multiple bracketed exposures. Sadly, however, this all got tone mapped down to an 8-bit JPEG file. But thanks to staggered HDR image sensors and their ability to output 3 exposures in 1 frame time, we can now bring multi-exposure computational HDR to both video and photo capture. We're also announcing today that we're overcoming the 8-bit JPEG for the first time. We've now utilized the HEIF format to produce photos with 10-bit color depth. This will bring more clarity, detail, and vibrant color to photos that weren't previously possible with the outdated 8-bit tone-mapped JPEG approach. For HDR, it's about time that photos caught up with video. The triple ISP and Qualcomm Spectra 580 makes computational HDR for all capture modes possible. The triple parallel processing allows each exposure to be concurrently captured and combined, all within one frame time. 4K HDR with staggered HDR will make your videos look amazing, with more dynamic range, more detail, and less artifacts than ever before. And 4K with staggered HDR will make video chat look incredible too, especially in challenging backlit scenes. Of course, this presentation wouldn't be complete without a photo of PJ. 120Hz displays have become the norm on premium smartphones. They've made gaming much more immersive, but we can also use them to make the camera better. Previously, you've captured and watched video at 24, 30, and 60 frames per second. Like Snapdragon 865, Snapdragon 888 devices will be able to capture 4K at 120 frames per second. But they will also be able to play them back at 120 frames per second for hyper-smooth video playback. The basics of a professional quality photo start with the 3 A's: autofocus, auto exposure, and auto white balance. All three of these must be correct if you want extreme sharpness, dynamic range, and great color. Qualcomm Technologies puts massive amounts of time and resources into refining our 3 A's. Qualcomm Spectra 580 will debut our 10th generation of 3A algorithms, and it's the first time that 3A will be powered by AI. This will take professional quality images to the next level. Our new saliency autofocus and auto exposure engines are incredible. They were built using virtual reality. We trained the saliency autofocus and auto exposure neural nets with virtual reality headsets equipped with eye tracking. We showed people images in virtual reality and tracked their eyes to see which part of the image they focused on. We then trained the AI autofocus and auto exposure engines with this data. The new AI-powered autofocus engine is faster and more accurate than ever. In the following video, you can see just how much faster and more intelligently our new engine automatically shifts between the objects you want in focus, all without you having to push a button. The Snapdragon 888 camera experience is more than just the Qualcomm Spectra. We have an entire AI engine we tap into. I'd like to show you some breakthrough experiences that can be achieved when our partners harness our ISP and our AI engine. ArcSoft will bring new meaning to the term point and shoot. In the past, point and shoot wasn't really that. You had to select what you wanted to focus on, then zoom in and out to constantly frame the action. No more. Thanks to the triple ISP always capturing video, ArcSoft will use Qualcomm Spectra 580 and our AI engine to track and zoom in and out automatically, delivering on a true point-and-shoot experience. There are many more exciting AI-powered camera experiences coming to Snapdragon 888 smartphones. Qualcomm Spectra 580 debuts our new triple ISP that is packed with breakthrough camera experiences. The breakthrough speed, computational HDR for video, low-light architecture, and much more will turn your next Snapdragon 888 smartphone into a professional quality camera.
Hi, I'm Macy from the Qualcomm gaming team. With Snapdragon 888, we have built new capabilities and optimizations to greatly reduce touch response times. We are excited to announce a new Snapdragon Elite gaming feature called Qualcomm Game Quick Touch. Touch latency depends on many factors. For example, the timing of the display VSync and the timing of the game's frame submission. Sometimes, due to heavy game workloads, the game may miss the VSync deadline. This will result in a delayed frame. This delayed frame impacts the latency of the touch event. The Game Quick Touch feature is optimized at the millisecond level to avoid these type of delays. Gamers will immediately experience faster response times. Snapdragon 888 with Game Quick Touch will increase the speed from touch to display up to 20%. Even a game with the blistering frame rate of 120 FPS will see an improvement in touch response times. Every mobile game can benefit from this new feature, from taking that racetrack corner a little tighter in Asphalt 9 or going for that final kill in Fortnite. I'm also excited to announce that Snapdragon Elite Gaming is delivering another mobile-first feature by bringing variable rate shading to mobile gaming. Until now, variable rate shading, known as VRS, has only been available on high-end PCs and next-generation consoles. Powered by the new Qualcomm Adreno 660, VRS will help reduce GPU workloads and provide significant enhancements to games. This will allow the next generation of mobile games to run faster and at higher resolutions while still maintaining the highest visual fidelity. This reduction in GPU workload also lowers power consumption for extended gameplay. When rendering a frame, the GPU executes a shader program for each pixel to compute its color. This would result in 3.6 million pixels being shaded. VRS allows developers to specify the shader program to only run once in groups of 2 or 4 pixels, and then reuse those color results for the surrounding pixels. With VRS, you can shade this entire frame using only 1.4 million pixels. That's a 40% reduction in total pixels shaded, which greatly reduces the GPU workload. This feature will allow developers to create even more immersive gaming experiences without sacrificing visual fidelity. When implemented, VRS will provide up to a 30% increase in gameplay performance. This allows games to run smoother and longer with lower power. It will also enable more headroom for game developers to take full advantage of the hardware and create larger, more unique experiences in the next generation of mobile games. This all comes down to creating better games for players around the world. Snapdragon Elite Gaming continues to transform mobile devices into powerful gaming machines. With new features like Qualcomm Game Quick Touch and variable rate shading, powered by our latest Adreno 660 GPU, we continue to push mobile gaming innovations even further. Snapdragon 888 provides a world-class gaming experience that will take your mobile gaming to a whole new level.
AI is everywhere and making an impact on our lives. I'm Xingyi Xu, and I can't wait to share with you all the amazing AI features for Snapdragon 888. We are introducing the 6th generation Qualcomm AI engine, and it is packed with features. First of all, we completely re-architected our Hexagon processor. The brand new Qualcomm Hexagon 780 processor has what we called a fused AI accelerator architecture. What does fused mean, though? Let's take a look at the Hexagon processor on the Snapdragon 865, which has scalar, vector, and tensor AI accelerators. On the Snapdragon 888, we redesigned the Qualcomm Hexagon processor so that the physical distances between these accelerators are now virtually gone. Not just that, we also added a large shared memory across these 3 different accelerators so that they can share and move around data faster and more efficiently. How much faster? It is up to 1,000 times handoff time improvement in certain use cases. We've also made improvements on the accelerators themselves. The scalar accelerator is 50% more powerful, and the tensor accelerator is now 2 times faster than its predecessor. In addition, we know that battery life matters to all of you. So along with all these performance boosts, we still managed to improve performance per watt by up to 3 times versus previous generation. Other part of Qualcomm AI engine has been upgraded as well. Our Qualcomm Adreno 660 GPU has a 43% AI performance boost, with new instruction sets like 4-input mixed precision dot product and wave matrix multiply for faster floating point calculation. The 6th generation Qualcomm AI engine is so powerful that it can perform real-time background removal on every single frame at 30 frames per second up to 4K resolution. Let's take a look at the performance numbers. The Snapdragon 865 has a very high top number at 15 tops. This year, Snapdragon 888 has a whopping 26 tops. In terms of benchmarking numbers, based on industry standard AI models, the Snapdragon 888's peak performance is faster than its closest competitors. And our expertise has always been keeping everything powerful without sacrificing power consumption. Here we can see that we are still the leader when it comes to performance per watt. Now you've seen how powerful our Hexagon 780 processor is to process big and complex AI algorithms. Let's talk about another kind of AI. This type of AI runs on your device 24/7, always on, always ready for action. It requires a completely different hardware to satisfy ultra-low power requirements. And this is why we created the Qualcomm Sensing Hub on the Snapdragon 865 last year. On the Snapdragon 888, we are introducing the 2nd generation Qualcomm Sensing Hub, and it is smarter than ever. First of all, we added a dedicated always-on low-power AI processor, and we're seeing a mind-blowing 5 times AI performance improvement. This extra AI processing power allows us to offload up to 80% of the workload from the Hexagon processor to the Qualcomm Sensing Hub so that we can save even more power. All of the processing on the Qualcomm Sensing Hub is at less than 1 milliamps of power consumption. Of course, we need to make sure that our developers can access the Qualcomm Sensing Hub easily. So we're working with Google on its new TensorFlow micro framework to optimize it for both of our Hexagon processor and the AI processor in the Qualcomm Sensing Hub. This will enable our OEMs and developers to create their own contextually aware applications that will optimally make use of our hardware. For instance, with the 2nd generation Qualcomm Sensing Hub, we're able to offload 38% of the OK Google detection algorithm from the Hexagon processor. Another cool feature that we created for the Qualcomm Sensing Hub is the ability to communicate to all parts of your device. As you can see here, your device has microphones, all sorts of sensors, and connectivity such as modem, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth. For the very first time, our Qualcomm Sensing Hub can collect data from all of them, real-time, and create contextually awareness use cases.
Thank you, Ziad and team, for walking through the details of Snapdragon 888. I can't wait to experience all of these new camera, AI, and gaming features. Over the past 2 days, you've heard from Qualcomm Technologies and our global ecosystem of partners about how 5G is redefining the premium tier, and how Snapdragon sets the benchmark as the platform for the connected age. Premium tier consumers demand the best experiences, and Snapdragon 8 series continues to lead the industry and deliver the most immersive experiences with intelligent photography, gaming, audio, and more. Snapdragon 888 is the culmination of many years of work, and we believe it sets a new bar, delivering the premium experiences you deserve. We invite you to view yesterday's and today's keynotes and other content on our website at qualcomm.com/Snapdragon Summit. We wish you a safe and healthy end of your 2020 and hope to see you in person back on the Hawaiian Islands next year. Mahalo and thank you.